Well, there you go. Another opportunity to get the opening done, and it crashed on us. Anyway, Jim Williamson, Sean Miller here. Guys, what a game, what a day it's been. We had, once again, Sean, an early morning draw that ended up in PKs, and then a blowout at night.
Yeah, look, I mean, when I talked about this tournament before it started, I was pretty high on Morocco.
Yeah.
They really defensively strong. I don't really think Spain deserved to win that game today. Once it goes to penalties, it's a lottery, and if you can't make one penalty, you don't deserve to win anything. That's but it might not matter at this point who won that game, because I don't think I don't think either of those teams were going to beat Brazil or Portugal the way Portugal played today. They finally got rid of Ronaldo, and the Ramos came in and absolutely dominated the game and got the match ball with a hat trick, 6-1, and Ramos. Everybody, all the big clubs are after him. He's U21 kid from Benfica, and he just showed how good he is. And if he's playing, and Bruno Fernandes is playing like that, and João Felix is playing like that, and they're getting goals from Pepe, there's just not really. I just don't expect them to get beat here in this next round. Portugal will be in the semifinals against either France or England.
Right. What about you were saying that there are a lot of people attracted to him. What clubs you think will end up with him?
I mean, I know United wanted him, and we were definitely after him. Pretty decent relationship with Benfica, but now now the cat's out of the bag. Now he's going to go for big money. Clearly better than. Obviously the reason they let that Darwin Núñez bum go for 100 million, because they had a better player behind him. So they sell the player for 100 million, get a better player behind him. And the Portuguese, Benfica, the Portuguese teams, that's how they kind of keep going. It's a pipeline. They sell their best players. They make a lot of money, and then they rebuild and reload really.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lose Enzo Fernandez probably in midfield, but just another player here. Bruno Fernandes really running the show in the middle of the pitch, but it's been interesting. For me, this has been a huge Manchester United kind of tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno Fernandes has been fantastic. Diego Dalot had an assist today and played really well on the right back. Not a lot was talked about. Cancelo got benched today, and they put Dalot in, and he didn't put a foot wrong. He got a big assist and played really well on defense, cleared the ball off the line. Ran with France, the English players. I mean, it's been a pretty good tournament. And for me, it's exciting because now, I know when they come back, these players are good, and we're almost there. We're just about there. So.
Well, one of the other things is, one of the advantages of playing in a tournament like this is the confidence it gives you when you do well.
Yep.
And I think that will bode well for any of these players who come back to the club team after playing on some pretty high level soccer and showing that they had that they could play.
Yeah, this is, for me, I mean, this tournament is important, like you said, because it's in the middle of the season. The players are in peak shape. They're playing at the top of their games now, and you see that with these the teams that got through. I mean, it was basically chalk city, and even Morocco won their group, so you can say really Croatia was the only second place team to get through. It's just the level of play here has been phenomenal for some teams. When I looked at this game today, the Portugal game, I just, for the life of me, could not figure out how they were basically even money in this game. I just didn't know. Like in Switzerland's not any good. I know they had just played in the Nations League, but that's the Nations League. They played twice. Portugal won 3-0 in Portugal, and Switzerland won 1-0 in Switzerland. But that's a late Nations League. Nobody cares about the Nations League. This is the World Cup, the biggest stage, and the better team won clearly.
Yeah, I will say this. I did think that Switzerland would put up a better fight. And I didn't think they'd win, but I didn't think they would get blown out either.
They were right for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The first 10.
Sometimes, it's kind of like everything in sports, right? I mean, you've got a plan, everything's going, and then all of a sudden, you're like in quicksand. You're like, everything is flying by you at warp speed, and you're just going, wait a minute, this is not how things were planned. And before you know it, you're way behind, you can't catch up.
That's the problem. You have to score, when you're an underdog and you're facing these teams, you have to take your chances early. You gotta take a lead if you can. It's when you're facing a team that can just absolutely just stun you on the counter,
Mhm.
like and they were playing the 3 at the back, which became a 5
Mhm.
on defense, and it looked good for 15 minutes, and then Ramos scored in the 17th minute. And then it just, Pepe scored. They had multiple chances in the first half. And it could have been 3 or 4-0 in the first half. And then just right after halftime, 2 goals in 4 minutes. And there's actually 3 goals in 7 minutes because Kanji scored for Switzerland. But, you can't give up 2 goals in the first 10 minutes after halftime after, the coach is telling you, like, we got to get back in this. It was atrocious.
Yeah, the other thing when you look at it, right, is that you're sitting there going, okay, this is cool, we'll get it done. But all of a sudden, there you are. I mean, you're down and you're playing twice as hard. Now, you had mentioned in the game, if you recall, in the game, the first knockout round game that the U.S. played the other day, and against the Netherlands, and when when the U.S. early on missed 2 or 3 opportunities, I recall you saying, you know what, the next goal, which happened to be for the Netherlands, it was basically over because they had, they didn't take the leap and get that all important first goal.
Yep. Yeah, it's it changes. The main saying is goals change games, and it's a little bit simplistic if you think about it. But really, what it does is, when they're playing, just for example, this game, they're playing the 3 center backs and then really attacking with the wing backs. So 3-5-2 going forward, but really 5-3-2 on defense, and they're playing, they're playing great, playing all right, and then all of a sudden, boom, they give up the goal, and it's just an absolute disaster. Like everything fell apart, and that goal changed that game big time. If they could have held out, till halftime, maybe it would have been a different game, but they didn't. I mean, they were terrible. I mean, they were absolutely atrocious. Portugal really, like, Ramos should have had another goal in the first half. Summer made a really good save going down to his left, really a fingertip save. I mean, it could have been any score they wanted. And this is, when you look at these games and the way that these round of 16 games played out, Netherlands, USA. Netherlands, it was really dominant. USA scored, so there was like a period, but then they scored to make it 3-1. Argentina was dominant. I know Australia scored, but they're really never in any danger. Japan, Croatia, penalties. Brazil could have won 10-0 if they wanted to. France could have won 10-0 if they wanted to. England could have won 10-0 if they wanted to. Morocco and Spain obviously went to penalties. And Portugal could have won 10-0 if they wanted to. I mean, when we talked about this, and when I had my bracket set up, I mean, it played out pretty. To me, it looked pretty simple. those games, barring, the Croatia, thing in Morocco, Spain, the two games that I thought were pretty interesting. But the other ones I didn't think were going to be interesting at all. But now, you got Argentina, Netherlands, England, France, and Portugal, Morocco, which could be interesting. Croatia, Brazil. I think Croatia's legs are gone, so Brazil should win that, pretty easily. But
Yeah, this is the game that will be the first game played on Friday.
yes,
Croatia, Brazil. Uh, Clearly a contrast in styles. I don't know if you saw was it yesterday Brazil played, or was it the day before? I can't remember.
I think it was yesterday.
Okay, they were dancing on the bus. They danced as they got off the bus. They danced down the corridor to the locker room. I mean, these guys are just, you can't get looser than these guys.
Yeah,
And
that's how.
yeah, go ahead.
That's how my Liberian team was. We went to play St. Benedict's, number one team in the country, and did the same thing. I was singing and dancing before the game. It's like, it's just a game. And,
right.
So I saw some people like saying it's a little bit, they're like disrespect, but like, it's a party. I mean, that's the way they play. That's the way they are. Like, it's a party. They score goals. I mean, I always, these people want them to score goals and then like just put their head down and go back to the center circle and get on with it. It's so ridiculous. It's a world.
No, it's like baseball, right? This is a kids game, right? We played it when we were kids. These guys played it when they were kids. It should be fun, and to me, I enjoy watching the teams that have fun playing. I'm not, if you're serious and out there, obviously you want to play the best you can play, but if you can play the best you can play, which Brazil can, and still have fun doing it, why not?
Exactly.
It's their version of the bat flip.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, you gotta, it's a game. This isn't, these guys aren't out there.
Here's the nightcap.
They're not in surgery, with life and death stuff. It's a game at the end of the day.
Yep. Netherlands, Argentina is the nightcap. 2:00 on Fox. And what we've seen of the Netherlands, and you think Argentina moves through, right?
I talked to Mike Ortiz on Twitter a little bit ago. I have to think about this one a little bit more. My early thoughts would be Argentina, but like I just need to look at it because I think that'll be the tightest game of all of them. I think there's going to be goals for both teams. I think it could go either way. Argentina should win. They're favored. The other three games, to me, just the way I see it, once again, on paper, France and England.
Let's start with Portugal and Morocco. They kick off at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. Morocco was very defensively organized, but so Switzerland for 15 minutes. I don't know. At some point in these tournaments, it's the same as basketball thing. At some point in these tournaments, you're going to need to score some goals. Like, you can't just play. You can't defense your way to a final. 0-0 penalties all the way to a World Cup. It's not going to happen. Somebody's going to score against you, and then if Portugal scores early, what is Morocco going to do? If Portugal plays like they did today, it doesn't matter. They're not going to beat them. So, but
if Portugal scores early, Morocco's going to panic.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to start, maybe change a little bit and have to play. I mean, they did a little bit today. They just really weren't, they didn't have that final.
They couldn't finish.
Yeah, they didn't have that final third class.
Now, here's the game that everybody is looking forward to: England and France. and by everybody, I mean everyone in England, um, which I was listening to Talk Sport today, and in typical British style, they had them, bounced out before the before the anthems are played. Um, they're, they're they're not a very optimistic group over there when they play the French.
It's weird because the Talk Sport is, I feel like they always just let like the most negative people, like I feel like they don't let the happy people through.
Right.
From my Twitter, they're adamant that they're going to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I still like France, but this England team is pretty good. Look, I think when you look at the bracket right now, there's probably 4 teams that could win it. England, France, Portugal, Brazil. You could probably argue Argentina, but I just don't think Argentina can beat Brazil, although they beat them last time in the Copa America final. But I think Brazil is better. So maybe it's 5. Croatia can't win it. I don't think Netherlands can win 3 games. I don't think they're strong enough. Morocco can't win 3 games 100%.
Well, 2 of our friends this morning, I was listening to Sirius XM just to get a feel for what they were thinking. And the guys that popped up on the air were Hudson and Rodney Marsh, and 2 guys we know. And Hudson and Marsh are saying basically that if France won, they were going out and getting drunk, and no one would see them again until after the World Cup. They're all in for their English side. So, as you said, as the Talk Sport people may have been down on them. That's not Rodney, and it's not Ray.
Yeah, so when I'm over there, I'll listen to some of that stuff, and it's like, I mean, I think tabloid stuff.
Yeah.
Like they don't care about sane, rational.
They'll put whatever they got. It doesn't even have to be accurate.
They care about the sane and the rational. They want the most the most outlandish, the most outrageous. Right. That's what they're all about. So it's not, it's FAN and
right.
You always get the guys that are on there yelling and stuff after.
Well, that's why I think, don't you, that most of the clubs took over their own websites and they control their own narratives. They basically have driven fans to the to the team websites, because every time you go on a newspaper site or a soccer site, they're bashing your club.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to for me, as a Manchester United fan, I sometimes trying to find stuff and it's crazy. You go on and you try to read this stuff on some of those sites, and it's like, man, like, what game did you watch? Like, this team played well. No, yeah, they're terrible. So I don't know. But then I also don't want to go to the Manchester United site all the time and just read puck pieces as well. So,
right.
That's why I got to try to find, maybe Capital Sports Network has to.
There you go. That's what we need to do. The thing that the tabloids do that honestly I think is incredibly unfair is they'll fillet a player without knowing anything about what they're talking about. And that's just not right to me.
They don't have sources.
They'll go on anything. I mean, somebody in the middle of the street they bump into says this is what's going on, has nothing to do with anybody, and the next morning it's front page news. So sources is something that they don't particularly care for. But
they use other tabloids as their source, like according to the Daily Mirror, according to the Daily Sting, according to this, and I'm like, wait a second, aren't you the same company?
According to the guy on the 3rd floor, the guy on the 4th floor and the guy on the 6th floor. This is what it is. They're all in the same building.
Yeah, that's
But I think, as somebody, we cover athletes. We know what's going on. I would hope, I know that we do. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt. If they play badly, then we'll report it as being badly. But at the end of the day, there's no reason to, put a character assassination out, a hit job on somebody, and that happens way too much in not just in England. Italy's another one. Boy, you pick up you read a site from the Italian league, and they've got 3 or 4 people that they've definitely don't want.
Yeah, it's and it's interesting to me because I'm always searching for information. Like I'm always trying to find information and search out information and such. And sometimes it's just, not credible. So
yeah, I mean, you want something that's credible. That's always a good thing to have. Here's what the semifinals will shape up to be. That bracket. Right now, you like Argentina, Brazil? Asking.
Yeah, probably. Brazil definitely. Argentina probably. Argentina, Brazil. I had them in my bracket. I had them online before the tournament. I think I had France and Portugal in the other semifinal. So I'm still alive there. But
here's the Wednesday, which would be England, France, Morocco, Portugal.
Yeah,
so that would be France, Portugal
will be there. England, France.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you have next Saturday's final is going to be France and Brazil. France and Brazil.
Yes, that's who I have. I have them all over the place and a bunch of stuff. If France and Brazil are in the final and Mbappe scores some goals, I'll be very happy because at that point, I would be rooting for France, but at that point, wouldn't really matter. I'd be up a lot of money, so that would be cool.
So next Saturday, it ends, but then, as you said, the following Monday, it starts back. Or is it Sunday?
Sunday's the final, and then
right up there Sunday.
But there's this weekend, Saturday, there's a full slate of EFL Championship games. So, the games are back. But I just wrote a couple of stories today. The Carabao Cup will be back on the Carabao Cup and the Copa del Rey in Spain will be both back on the 20th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's 28 Carabao. There's 8 Carabao Cup and 28 Copa del Rey matches on that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it never ends.
Wow.
I mean, if people, that's what I wrote. I said, a lot of times the World Cup and everybody's like, oh, what do I do now? Because, whatever. I mean, they'll watch MLS, but some people want to watch, the English and, the higher level stuff. And now you don't have to wait. I mean, the game is over and then, Tuesday. So I think they're going to retain a bunch of viewers. I would think the streaming sites believe that as well, and the gambling sites and everything. Supposedly this World Cup has been bet by. It's the biggest event other than the Super Bowl, and it's going to be very close to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I sent you the numbers this morning on the streaming services.
Yeah,
and the numbers don't lie. I mean, people. I got into a bit of an argument the other day with a person who said, "Well, nobody's going to want to have to go stream something when you can flip back and forth between channels on on your television." I'm like, you may think that way, but in 3 or 4 years, that's just the way it goes.
It's not really how stream work too. Like, look, I'll just show you here. This is my setup here is, I got TVs here, and you got the game on, and it's clicking from one game to another. on streaming
You
is
just,
just as easy as changing the channel or
right.
IPTV or
Hey,
whatever.
Foxy, good to see you. I mean, I've been cable free for about 4 or 5 years now,
Yep.
and with Roku and you everything's there. I don't understand why people make it. If you watch stuff on your phone, it's no different than working off your phone.
It is, and it's I just think sometimes it's the same thing with the mentality about nobody cares about soccer and nobody
Mhm.
like I've had baseball people tell me this all the time. I'm like, no, listen, dude, like nobody cares about baseball. Like the numbers show it. These games are getting not just the World Cup, but like the Premier League, the La Liga. More people are watching these games than are watching a
Yep.
Orioles game or whatever,
Right.
and it's
Or
like,
Mets game
yeah,
if you're talking New York.
it's not even that, but like basketball, NBA, or
Mhm.
like college or whatever. Like, yeah, it's. I
Well,
just people are always kind of
yeah.
bashing the sport, and it's like, listen, this is the future here. You got to get with it. But sometimes,
You've got a son, Luke, who drops by from time to time. It's always nice to see him. Um, when we were Luke's age, growing up, we would be watching on Saturday morning cartoons.
that's right.
Not now. Everybody's watching. Every kid I know is watching soccer.
Premier, I say this all the time, and Foxy talking about Morocco doing them proud. Yeah, same thing, Foxy. I thought they were massively underrated coming in. I had them coming out of the group. And same thing. But when we used to go to Kyle Franco and we covered the Thunder, Trenton Thunder. You'd
Hmm.
see more. There was more Premier League. There was more soccer jerseys in the stands on some nights than baseball jerseys at a baseball game. And I'm not even exaggerating. We would count them and be like, how many baseball jerseys, how many soccer jerseys? And you're like, there'd be like 52 soccer jerseys and like 37 baseball jerseys. And you're like, it's the whole thing is switched in the last couple years, 5 years, and it's only going to get this is going to get ramped up more and more before the World Cup. So especially in our area here, where
Right.
in the East.
Well, in Miami and in Tampa, they had when they do the friendlies, the trip that comes over, and they have what is it? It's a Champions League tournament of sorts that they have every year.
Champions Cup.
Yeah, Champions Cup. Those tickets sell out in less than an hour.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so there's you sit there and go, okay, if it's not interesting to people, why then would a venue that seats 70,000 plus sell out in an hour? And
Yeah,
it's not Taylor Swift.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've been saying this for 10 years, and people, whatever. But it's true, and I actually get sick of talking about it now. I'm just
Mhm.
just let
Well,
everything.
it's funny because even at this point, I mean, basically that friendly is going to be like a spring training baseball game.
Yes.
You might be able to see somebody, if Ronaldo's playing, Ronaldo might play for 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes. Maybe he's not going to play a half, and they get him off and they put somebody else on. They're going to take a chance on hurting, one of their guys in front of. But it's been those things. Plus, look at how much money that the leagues around the world get from the U.S. Networks and streaming services.
Yeah, we saw that article today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the Premier League stream that the Paramount took over basically.
Yeah.
Because TBS and then didn't want it, and now it's undervalued, and the Premier League deal gets bigger and bigger every year. I think the Premier League deal was
Well, I know that the next Premier League deal they've already been talking about is going to be a battle between Amazon Apple, and Paramount and Paramount Plus, Peacock. I mean, nobody's talking about networks anymore. They're talking about streaming services.
Yeah, I mean, they just the deal runs the NBC Sports signed on for 6 more years until 2028,
Mhm.
2.7 billion. So,
But a lot of those games are going to be on Peacock.
yeah, yep. I don't, to be honest, sometimes I don't, I actually like the Peacock because you can stream it on different, like, once again, for me, like,
Sure.
I have Peacock on every TV. I don't have the
Mhm.
other stuff on every one, but you can stream other things. They have the goal zone and
Sure.
you can rewatch the games and stuff. I mean, that's,
Well, and they've got entertainment as well. I mean, they've got movies, they've got shows, they got.
yeah. Paramount, obviously just started watching this Tulsa King and
Mhm.
some of the other. I never really watched. I never really watched Yellowstone, but I have to start. Foxy, for me, it's as generous fashion sport because the United States are not the best at it. Hope it gets way more support. It's not. It used to be, Foxy. I feel like it's not like that now because it's such a, like, the thing is, like, our parents didn't really play. Some of them did. So, like, I grew up with it or whatever, and we didn't have it on TV. But now all these, like, our generation's kids, like, youth youth soccer is like the biggest thing in the world. Like, it's just massive. Everybody plays. Like, every girl plays. A lot of boys play. Hi, Luke. How's it going? So it's just become really big, and obviously with all the streaming and everything, it's big. There's pubs that support it. So, and the other thing that's, I think, helped them, Foxy, is some of these other sports have been a disaster. Baseball, the strike, and then the games being 4 hours long. That's killing the sport. They have to try to figure out how to shorten the games. NBA has become it's AAU basketball. It's jacking up threes and going and dunking and stuff. There's no mid. People don't really like to watch it anymore. Obviously, hockey is really super regionalized. They have hardcore fans. Hockey's a lot more like the soccer, I think, because there's the regionalized fans and stuff. But right now, I mean, soccer is the sport. Everybody sees it. The streaming sites all see it. The business people see it. The sports books see it. This is the sport that has the most potential for growth. I mean, it could just be growing like crazy, especially with the World Cup. So, I mean, you're gonna see this sport, growing in orders of magnitude over the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, they're going to be pushing a lot of different stuff ahead of the
Well,
World Cup.
there's 8 to 12 cities where there's ownership groups that want an MLS franchise.
Yeah, it's MLS
And
is going to be massive. I mean, it'll be 40. I think MLS has to figure out what they want to do
mhm.
because it would be really cool if they did 40 teams or split it into
Well,
East.
there was some conversation, and I full disclosure, I was involved in the Bundesliga's talks with the MLS on how to create what, in essence, is a league and a TV package within a league. Uh, and there has been a great deal of conversation. We all know about the USL, which is a fine little league. But the potential of getting to, like you said, up to 30 or 40 teams with the concept of saying, okay, let's play it like the Premier League where there's relegation.
Yeah, or yeah, I mean, that you could do that, or you could also, I think, if it gets to 40 teams that they don't want to do relegation, you
Mm-hmm.
could do East and West to 20 teams, have your leagues. You play the East. The East teams play the East. If there's 20
Mm-hmm.
teams, it's like the Premier League. You play 38 games, so it's
Right.
about the same amount of games, a little bit more. The West plays. You do top four, and then the two, whoever wins each one plays in the you're the champion of the you win your thing, you're the champion of your league and stuff, and then
you go back to the old Super Bowl concept of AFL, NFL.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, you could even do a playoff. After the two teams that win each division, win each league could play, and the two best teams play, and then that's the Super Cup winner, whatever it is.
Right.
You could have playoffs, and then you could do a separate thing.
Right.
But to win your league, that's the problem. The one thing is like with the MLS, like always, kind of denigrates the regular season by the playoffs. They could have. If they did that, they could have champions. Yeah, we're the champion, and then do a Super Cup, and then you're the champion of the Super Cup, and then you could do the both.
Well, there's a lot there. I mean, there's a lot that Don Garber has done well, and there's a lot that Don Garber has not done well.
Yeah,
and we don't have the time to go into either of them, but I do think that expansion has to be calculated and has not, you don't expand just because people are out there throwing money at you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to be careful. I know that the folks down the street there in Chester who built a stadium, kind of had some issues there. They're still fighting with the city over how that thing ended up.
Yeah.
And it's, it detracts from the game, when you get these kind of, intramural arguments between governments and owners. And I think that's why when the stadium is actually built and owned by the team, it's a much better and cleaner proposition.
That's I mean, for me, it's I heard some Americans say that if the Ravens quarterback goes to the Lions, they'll switch them and support the Lions. That's like these new Foxy. That's like those people on Twitter, like the football avies that support like Ronaldo and stuff like that. It's not really like like that. It's just these young kids that have no they don't have a concept of like team support. I
That's
think
true, Foxy. That is true of Americans.
NBA is like that a little bit, like LeBron and stuff. But yeah, no, there's probably the a large majority of the teams support like the Eagles, and they're not going to go if Jalen Hurts leaves, they're not going to go with Jalen Hurts. They're the Eagles fans. It's these like new wave kids that are just
Now there's
players.
Sean, to your point, we like to call it in the business, they'll follow the laundry. And it doesn't matter who's wearing that laundry, you're going to be a fan. And I guarantee you, if I went into Lincoln Financial Stadium wearing anything other than an Eagles jersey, it would not be a pleasant day for me.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that.
So, there are, and again, that's a regional thing. Because you could, if you're a baseball fan, go out to St. Louis and wear any jersey you want. Walk into the stadium. People will be very polite to you. But whenever the fans are rooting for the Cardinals. It just you talk about regional for hockey, massive in Buffalo, in Pittsburgh, in Chicago, Detroit. I mean, those are big hockey cities where you look and see the ratings, because I get breakdowns of the ratings, and the top 10 hockey towns. I mean, ratings for hockey, you can name them without even thinking. It's going to be Pittsburgh. It's going to be Buffalo. It's going to be Detroit. It's going to be St. Louis. I mean, Chicago. They all love it. And then you've got Philadelphia's in there. Philadelphia's a very good sports town. I don't know about you, but I think that oftentimes people think that New York is a good sports town. It's a horrible sports town.
Yeah, that's right. They are. You look at the Yankees. fans on Twitter, and they just, you know, it's relentless. You know, I don't know. They're not. It's interesting. I mean, the some of the towns that people think are good towns are the opposite, and it's, you know, Philly fans get criticized a lot, but they're very loyal, and you know, when they show up to these, you know, the Phillies this year. I mean, when the Philly teams are good, fans are like not even when they're good. Sometimes when they're bad too. But
well, you know, the thing about Philly, and I've, you know, done a lot of events in Philly, that I appreciate is that they're consistent. The fans are consistent. They love the team and they love it. They love to hate them from time to time, but that's okay. If you hate them, that's a problem. If they hate them, that's okay. You know, and you want to have some fun someday. If you're not from Philly, tune in some of the, and you can get them all online for free. Tune in and listen to some of the Philly sports talk radio anymore. My God, it can be brutal. But I will say this: the fans of Philadelphia are very knowledgeable, and it's a tough town to play in, just like Boston's a tough town to play in.
Yes,
New York is not a tough town to play in. I mean, they make it out to be, but you got nearly 20 million people there that, you know, of that group, half of them don't give a damn that the Mets or the, you know, whoever's playing.
Yeah.
You know, so it does get to be, you know, a different thing, a different way of doing it. But soccer, I think one of the interesting things to me, and I've been to a number of MLS games, you know, doing those games, is that the MLS teams, and you, Sean, I really like your opinion on this. They've tried to co-opt a European look. In other words, they bring the scarves, they bring the jerseys, they sing the songs, you know, they don't act like a normal American crowd would react. They try to you know, I've even seen them march up to the stadium. Some of the fans. They try to mimic, you know, what they've seen in Europe for a U.S. MLS, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a very interesting thing to me.
Yes.
So I mean, is that what happens at the Union games? Do they go down and you know, wander up to the stadium wearing their shirt and their scarf or something?
Yeah, I think the Union, you know, it's interesting because this is the first time they've ever won anything. You know, they won these, but then they lost in the final. But the fan base seems to be pretty hardcore.
True, Foxy.
Philly fan base seems if you don't perform well, they'll let you know about it. If you do well, it could be an intimidating atmosphere for the opposition. 100%. You know, Flyers, Eagles, Philly, Union,
Sixers.
Sixers, you know, I think that's the case, you know, when they're doing well and they're playing well in the playoffs. And so, you know, we'll see this year, you know, if the Eagles get home field advantage in that playoffs, you know, it's loud. You go to, it's an outdoor stadium, but it gets loud. Like when they're good, the Phillies last year in the playoffs and in the National League Championship Series. I mean, it was just, you couldn't hear yourself. And this is outdoors. So
yeah, well, the bank is a little. I mean, the bank is a very cozy 38,000 people.
Yeah.
So
I think the Union probably at some point need to get, you know, obviously they're building the downtown stadium for the Sixers and the Flyers there. You know, maybe I think they need to get a downtown stadium somewhere. You know, maybe they put it where the Wells Fargo is or something, because Chester's a hike. It's so hard to get to for me. I mean, I used to live in Northeast Philly, and you know, I'm not driving an hour to go watch a Union game when I can watch it on TV.
Right. What happened in DC is the United built their stadium 2 blocks from Nationals Park, so you can actually go to a Nationals game in the afternoon and walk 3 blocks down the street and be there for an evening United game.
Yeah, that's right.
So it makes it easy, and everybody comes in on the same metro line. So there you go. All right, so tomorrow there is no games being played.
Nothing.
So what we might do is go back and talk about some NBA and some college basketball and some other stuff, and
Yeah,
we'll kind of dip our toes back into giving you the most up to date information that we have on what's going to happen in the in the World Cup. As always things break. There's also the winter baseball meetings are going crazy, and so we'll find out some stuff there. So tomorrow we're going to spread out a little bit and talk a little bit more about some generalities, because we're going to have to get ready for maybe Thursday to talk about Friday's games. So by that time we'll know if there's anything that's gone good, bad, or otherwise on that. But so far, as Sean has put it, he had Morocco, and everything else has been pretty much chalk.
that's right.
All right, boys and girls. Any other questions before we get out of y'all? What we got from Foxy? Bill McDonald. Hey, Bill.
Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, and Bruins. Let's go. Big Boston guy.
Yeah, he's a Boston guy.
Beautiful thing with Newcastle Stadium right in the middle. But Patriots is the team that has a legendary coach, but under pressure. Yes, they're 6-6 now. But yeah,
Hey, Bill, let me ask you a question about are they going to are the Red Sox going to sign Xander Bogaerts back?
That'd be interesting.
Because right now he's not under contract.
Yeah, he's not.
But that's the cash. But if Trey Turner gets $300 million in 11 years, I wonder what they're looking at Xander Bogaerts.
Probably a lot.
Yeah. I thought 300 was a lot. Yeah. So, well, evidently Bill's not Xander's agent, so we'll have to find out. But Bill, come on back. Foxy, come on back. Come on back, all of our Twitchers, all folks on Twitch. We shall be here 4 o'clock tomorrow because we are here to serve, and get used to this network because you're going to be paying a lot of attention to it. All right. Sean, any final thoughts before we end it today?
No. Thought we pretty much covered most of the stuff that was there.
All right, boys and girls. We will see you tomorrow, okay?